Hello and welcome to today's edition of The Exchange, brought to you by the New York Stock Exchange. As a reminder, today's interview is for informational purposes only. The NYC does not recommend investments or investment strategies. I'm sitting right now live at Inside ETFs in Hollywood, Florida with Philip Toews. He's the CEO of Toews Asset Management. Philip, thank you so much for joining.
Great to be here.
I know you're having lots of conversations out there. What are advisors talking about right now?
Well, this week people are talking about the potential of a U.S. credit default. So with everything that's going on, it obviously creates huge risks for the marketplace, but I'm hearing a lot of conversations about that.
So when you look at the markets and the debt limit and all these different concerns, are there opportunities out there for investments?
Yeah, so I think there are, but what's interesting is that if you look at conventional portfolios, sometimes they're just not set up for adversity, especially something like a default on U.S. debt. So, to a certain extent, I think advisors need to think unconventionally, think about ways to address contingencies in ways that potentially could create opportunities if the markets have big, major dislocation events.
Yeah, so tell us about the Agility Shares ETF lineup, because they act very unique, pretty innovative structure for the world of ETFs.
Right, so we have two ETFs. One of them is focused on high yield, and it attempts to be in high yield or in investment grade or cash instruments in order to take off risk. So as an example, that ETF just went into cash instruments, and it did it based on trend following algorithms in potential, based on the potential that the market could have dislocations due to the credit issues. The other one is titled MRSK is the symbol, and it's designed to be fully in the S&P 500, but it has full notional hedging. So if the market falls off the rails, you could potentially have some appreciation in those hedges and not participate in the full brunt of the decline. So that's a perfect example of what I was talking about, which is try to have something in the portfolio which is able to be defensive, that you don't have to go in there and shift by yourself.
Yeah, let's stay on that for a minute with like portfolio management. If you're an advisor, right, and you've got these ETFs that are making these moves, how do they think about adding them to an investment portfolio?
Well, so the way we recommend that advisors do it is to use a fair amount of just conventional asset classes, but then build in with things like THY and MRSK, these either trend following or hedged products to carve off risk. And we think you could use hedged products for as much as half of your conventional portfolios. And that allows you to be sort of looking at what the landscape of what may happen, whether it's the Fed continuing to raise rates, whether it's something to do with a default on US debt, and not worry about it so much. So that's an all seasons approach to thinking about portfolios.
So someone's listening in, they're thinking, hey, I need to learn more about the Toews Asset Management philosophy here on ETFs. Where do they go? How do they learn more?
Well, follow Toews Asset Management on LinkedIn or Twitter. Also go to ToewsETFs.com and you can find out more information about our products. And we'd love to talk to you and help you do an analysis of how these things look in your portfolio.
Yeah, and you and your team, fantastic, super friendly and easy to get in touch with. That's a wrap on today's edition of The Exchange, brought to you by none other than the New York Stock Exchange, the home of ETFs.